He does believe in mass deportation, whether you like it or not. He's put it out there. You know what his foreign policy...
I don't really get that as a conservative thing. I do kind of wonder why you're so excited about that. I mean, to me,
a
small government conservative is like really wants a bunch of jackbooted thugs, you know, like pulling people over based on the color of their skin and demanding papers and kicking them out of the country. Like that's what we're going to do. We're going to deport millions of people. That's conservative, small government conservative.
I'm going to tell you, Tim, what's going on here.
In today's video, Tim Miller absolutely destroys Tomi Lahren in a heated debate on Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And let's just say it does not go well for her. Tomi comes in with the usual MAGA script, but Tim isn't having any of it. He calls out her hypocrisy, dismantles her weak arguments, and throws in some brutal truth bombs along the way. And honestly, watching Tomi struggle to keep up is almost second-hand embarrassing. So let's dive in and watch how Tim Miller shuts down Tomi Lahren in this heated debate.
So first of all, illegal immigration is not a race, it's an activity. So I don't care what your race is. I don't care if you're blonde with green eyes like I am. If you're in the country illegally, you probably need to get the hell out.
Yeah, I'm sure just when they do the ads about illegal immigration, you always see people blonde with green eyes on the TV.
They can only show
who they're going to deport.
You can only
Donald's really planning on deporting people to Switzerland, Tommy. You're right. That's definitely
well, they're not coming here from there. I mean, you can only deport the people that are here. But listen, to be fair, they're coming from all over the world. I mean, all the countries of the world are represented, and languages we've never even heard before are coming across our southern border. But I want to talk about the mass deportation thing, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on it because I have a lot of questions for you. But I will say this. For me, it's really simple math. You have 10 million plus illegals that have come in the last 3.5 years. So what do? You take the 10 million plus that have come in the last 3.5 years and you send them right back because they shouldn't have been here. And then now they got to go. And so that's what you're going to do.
That's definitely going to be a small government conservative. Nobody's rights are going to be infringed upon in that effort. They're definitely not going to sweep up anybody that wasn't supposed to be deported.
You're an illegal immigrant. You don't have a right to be in this country.
Okay, great.
So that's the thing. If we would have never had this problem, then this wouldn't be a discussion. But unfortunately, your candidates opened up the border and we got 10 million plus people in. So those 10 million plus people are stressing resources, mostly in your beautiful sanctuary cities. So, you know, unless we want to bankrupt our country in the name of inclusion, we got to do something. So something's got to be done here. Kamala obviously did a piss poor job on it. So here we are. But I do want to ask you about this, though, because you said Kamala's going to have policy positions. Well, since she hasn't put those out there yet, we have to go based on her record and things that she has said. Now, whereas you might not like the idea of mass deportation, you know, 2019 Kamala wants to close the detention centers and pretty much have a friggin' free-for-all. And I guess if you consider that a measure of success, she's basically done it. But I want to roll this clip of Kamala, and then you tell me if Kamala 2024 is the same as Kamala 2019, because I quite frankly don't know. Let's take a listen.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one.
So should we assume that that's what she wants to do on day one?
I don't think so. It's been 5 years since 2019. And, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance should be pretty familiar with people changing their views a lot over time. I think that Kamala has gotten into the White House and as the vice president and has expressed updated views. A lot of times she's changed her views to things I like, which I appreciate when people flip-flop from things I didn't like to things I like. And in this case, her and the White House worked with conservative Oklahoma Senator James Lankford on an immigration bill that was going to include cracking down on the border, trying to streamline the asylum system. So I think that she's come to the middle on this issue. I think she's come to the middle on a lot of issues. I think that she made a mistake running to the left in the primary in 2020, and you guys are going to try to hit her on that. But I think the reality is, if you listen to her rhetoric and her policies now and a lot of those issues,
but she's not giving
come to
us
the middle, which I appreciate.
Now, I would be okay with it, and I'll be honest. I want to be a fair person. If
she had the bill with James Lankford.
Yeah, but that's not her bill.
She's advertising on that bill.
She can't just say, I wanted the bipartisan border bill. She can't just say, that's my position. Because listen, She needs to articulate why she's changed her mind from the opinions that she had in 2019 and 2020,
Why?
Medicare for all, because she needs to articulate it. If she's not going to
She
put
was
out
the
an
vice
updated
president,
version.
Tommy. She was the vice president. She said she'd work with James Lankford, who's a Republican conservative senator, on a bipartisan immigration bill. They already did it. It would have been passed if Donald Trump didn't scuttle it. So, what more details do you want? It's right there. You can go Google it. Go look at the Senate bill. You can see all the provisions. You might not like all of it, but it's a pretty conservative immigration reform bill. She said she's on board with it. She's running ads right now promoting her position on that bipartisan bill. So I don't know what's confusing about her position.
Pause. Are you getting tired of getting half the story from biased news sources? One outlet says one thing and another says the complete opposite. How are you supposed to know what's actually true? That's where ground news comes in. It lets you compare how different media outlets, left, right, and center are covering the same story. So you can see the full picture instead of just the echo chamber. And here's the best part. Click the link in the description and get 40% off the Vantage tier, which gives you even deeper insights into media bias and political trends. Stay informed, think for yourself, and check out ground news in the description down below. First off, Tommy acts like deporting millions of people is just simple math, as if it wouldn't require a massive government operation, one that would cost taxpayers billions and turn the country into a police state. It's the total opposite of small government conservatism, which is supposed to be about reducing government power, not expanding it into a mass deportation force. And let's not forget, when Trump tried ramping up deportation in his first term, it was a logistical nightmare. ICE was already stretched thin, and even under his most aggressive policies, they never came close to removing the numbers Tommy is throwing around. So what makes her think Trump 2.0 is going to pull off the impossible? Then she tries to paint Kamala Harris as some kind of radical open borders activist. But Tim quickly shuts that down. Kamala has already backed a bipartisan immigration bill co-authored by Republican Senator James Lankford that included stronger border enforcement. That's a fact. But of course, Tommy conveniently ignores it because it doesn't fit her narrative. And let's not forget, Trump himself tanked the bill because it didn't give him everything he wanted, proving once again that he cares more about scoring political points than actually fixing the immigration system.
Some of the people in those ads don't want to be in them, including a California sheriff who said, hey, don't lump me in with Kamala. Like, I'm not voting for her and I don't endorse her border policy. But I want to ask you about this because I think it's interesting, just from a strategic standpoint. Do you think that it is a little odd that the campaign is choosing to go back to when she was a prosecutor or AG, district attorney? And do you think it's odd that those ads are really based on what she did way back then, and we don't have any ads that are focusing on what she did as vice president? If you, in fact, think she did a good job, do you think it's weird that they're trying to basically eliminate the last 3.5 years from who Kamala is?
I don't think they are. I think they're trying to introduce her, Tommy. And look, this is a very strange situation we have. It's a very short timeline for a campaign. And so I think that they're trying to introduce her bio to people. Like, a lot of people that aren't like political obsessives who are watching midday YouTube argument videos don't know that she was a district attorney, don't know that she was a prosecutor, don't know that she was an attorney general. So I think she's talking about her record. I think that she's probably reinforcing to people that might have concerns based on false attacks from the right that she might be anti-police or a defunder or whatever. She wants to reassure people that she's
like, let's
for
be
law
fair
and
though.
order.
She said it herself in George Floyd riots. She said people have every right to be out there. Don't expect it to stop. They shouldn't let up. She talked about reimagining policing, reimagining what ICE looks like. I mean, to say that she's anti-police, I'm not going off of that because I pulled it out of a coconut tree. I'm pulling it out of her own clips of her own voice saying it out loud proudly. So if she's changed her position and now she's suddenly pro-police, and she doesn't think policing needs to be reimagined, and she doesn't want to abolish ICE, then don't you think she needs to articulate that to us?
Yeah, and I think she is. I mean, I think that you're just trying to find things to be unhappy about because you've got to defend your man after, he instigated a riot at the Capitol and tried to overturn the election. You got to find things to attack the other person on.
Talk about living in the past, my friend.
She was a
January
district
6th
attorney.
is over.
She's pro-police. What's
okay,
over?
Well, January 6th is far long
It's
gone.
not really over because he's still lying about the 2020 election. He's still advancing the lie that led to the attack on the Capitol. So it's not over. Police there, you want to be like, oh, Kamala's anti-police. Really? Donald Trump instigated a riot at the Capitol where 100+ police were injured. He won't apologize for it. He's happy about it. He wants to pardon and get out of prison the people that attacked the cops at the Capitol. That guy's not pro-police, and he was asked about this recently in an interview, and he wouldn't back down. He said the thing that really upset him was the lefty protesters that injured that painted the marble at the Capitol. And as a builder, he's really upset about the marble. He's not upset about the cop that lost his eye. Donald Trump hasn't called him. He hasn't called Brian Sicknick's family. Like, give me a break.
Well,
I don't like this whole like Kamala's anti-police. Donald Trump is anti-police.
First off, Kamala Harris was a prosecutor and attorney general. That's literally the opposite of being anti-police. The whole defund the police smear is just another misrepresentation, especially when Kamala Harris has constantly backed law enforcement police throughout her career. Tim made it clear that her campaign was emphasizing her experience because despite the right-wing attacks, her record shows she's tough on crime. But here's where Tommy really lost the argument. She tried to make it seem like Kamala needs to explain any changes in her positions over time while completely ignoring how Trump actively worked against law enforcement when it suited him. Tim rightly pointed out that Trump instigated an attack on the Capitol where over 100 police officers were injured. He never apologized, never called the families of fallen officers, and still defended the rioters. He even pardoned them. That's not pro-police, that's the opposite. This debate was a mess for Tommy. Tim exposed the hypocrisy of Trump's supposed pro-police stance while dismantling the weak attacks on Kamala. If the right wants to push this anti-police narrative, they might want to take a closer look at their own guy first. But this is it for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section down below.